Good morning everybody and welcome back to the channel. Right, first off, an apology. I know you guys hate me doing this, but it's just a quick one. Just a quick apology for missing the blog last week. As anyone that does anything online, Guy, Callie, Scott, Ollie, you'll all know this. Occasionally life gets in the way of our online things. And everything gets sort of thrown into disarray and that's pretty much what happened last week. I won't go into detail, but it was some personal stuff that I needed to get sorted, and it's all now taken care of, so hopefully things will be back on an even keel. I mean, the plan was to give it a miss this week, with it being Mother's Day. As you know, it's a bit of a dodgy sort of time for me. I lost my mum early last year. But I got it into my head yesterday that if I go up there to see her at the cemetery yesterday morning, which would have been Saturday, I would not only avoid all the crowds, it would give me time to get everything back sort of on an even keel here. So I went up there yesterday, spent a bit of time up there, got my steps in, walked up to the water tower and down through Briz Valley, so that was good. And I've been planning to come back today for you, so here I am. As I say, I do apologise for last week, but it does occasionally happen, and it will continue to occasionally happen, as I'm sure you can appreciate. We can't always help it, so it's good to be back anyway. It really is. I really missed doing it last week, as I always do, and again, you guys that do these things will know that any interruption to your regular routine throws everything out, and it does, and it never feels right when I miss it, as you know, but it's only been a week, but as I say, the plan was to miss this week, record next week for the following week, so it would have been near enough 3 weeks, but I thought, you know what, as Guy's always saying, the show must go on. So here I am, the show going on. So yeah, thanks for bearing with me, guys. It's good to be back, and I'll start with comments. The first one is from a post that I put up sometime last week or the week before. Forgive me, because this will sound a little bit weird, because a lot of these comments I'm reading out sort of 2 weeks plus old, so bear with me on this. Believe me, you did say all this. So I put a post up either last week or the week before about an old cinema that wasn't actually being closed down, that was actually thriving, and it was a beautiful old place. I can't remember where it was, but Taff, one of our subscribers, he said that he lived, or his mum lives, just a couple of towns away or something like that, and I put that post on, and Caroline, one of my dearest and oldest friends, morning Caroline, put, I wish someone had bought the Odeon and refurbished it. Oh God, yes. I keep meaning to pay a visit to the Red Carpet Cinema in Barton, but to be honest, the release of films over the last few years really don't do it for me. I'd love a cinema which showed some classic black and white films, blockbuster movies which are awesome on a large screen, and more obscure films. Not every day or night, but maybe once a week. I'm fairly sure that if they put their mind to it, the Red Carpet could definitely do that, and I'm fairly sure that Cineworld could. I don't think there'd be any harm in it. I have a list of films I would love to see on the big screen. Jaws would definitely be one. Too young to be interested when it was released. Some Like It Hot, good choice. Titanic. Why didn't I see it at the cinema when it was released? Baffles me even to this day. Oh, I think I'm going to put a top 10 films together for you, Tone, on this subject. Please do. I would love a list, and this would go for all of you. We may have done this before, I can't remember, but it won't hurt to do it again. Just drop in the comments a list of films that you missed at the cinema the first time round because you were too young to see them, that you would love to see now on the big screen. I'll do the same at some point, but I would love to see the kind of movies that you pick, because they would be very different to the ones that me and Caroline would pick, that's for sure. So thanks for that, Caroline. Brilliant to hear from you. And before I get on to comments, Sam Smith has been at it again. Now, I don't know if this is fake news, and if it is, please forgive me, because I'm an absolute sucker for falling for this stuff. Rosie Jones, who is apparently a comedian, has issued a 14-minute apology on TikTok for calling Sam Smith a man. That's a fucking oversight for a start, leaving Sam's fans delighted, I'm sure. The funny comedian, matter of opinion, I shouldn't have gotten involved in gender ideology and I should just stick to what I'm good at, telling jokes. We'll have to take your word for that, love. Sam said, and this is the bit I'm not sure about, because if he did actually say this, he's more stupid than I could ever have imagined. Sam said, she's got a lot to learn. That would have got me back up straight away. Let's just say that. But she's done the right thing. She's chosen comedy and that's her decision. But I think if lesbians just stuck to DIY, the world would be a better place. Please tell me you didn't actually say that. That is just the worst thing you could possibly have said. I think this is probably either fake news or somebody's exaggerating, because surely even Sam Smith wouldn't be stupid enough to say something like that. He would, wouldn't he? He absolutely would. Let me know if you know anything about that. So, right on to comments. David, morning David, we'll start with Dave. Love the ending music to The Elephant Man. I can't remember it. David Lean's soundtracks are normally right on the button, so I would imagine it definitely was. Favourite Jimmy Stewart films? Right, okay. Flight of the Phoenix, absolutely love it. It was an end of term school film, so I've got very fond memories of that one. When it was screened at school in the 70s. Absolutely brilliant. Richard Attenborough, not Ian Hendry, what was his name? I can't remember. There was a whole load of stars in it, but it was a cracking film. Vertigo, obviously, Hitchcock classic. The Glenn Miller Story, enjoyed that. I've not seen it for years, but the soundtrack alone was just gorgeous. And The Spirit of St. Louis, which I believe is the story of Charles Lindbergh, if I remember correctly. I haven't seen it for many, many years, but I do remember enjoying it. So that's my favourite Jimmy Stewart ones, or the ones that I've seen anyway. Favourite Brian De Palma films? Obviously, my favourite is Dressed to Kill, bar none. I just think it's amazing. But if I had to pick others, Casualties of War with Michael J. Fox and Sean Penn. Brilliant film set during the Vietnam War, as disturbing as you could possibly get, but electric performances from everybody, especially Fox and Penn. They were just brilliant. The Fury, which was an early horror film for De Palma, I think it was 1977, all to do with telekinesis, starred Kirk Douglas, really, really good. Blowout, John Travolta, which came out, I think, the year after Dressed to Kill, and it was loosely based on the 60s movie Blow Up, which starred David Hemmings. It was about a sound guy who accidentally recorded, was it a murder? It was some sort of a conspiracy thing, but it was to do with a car going off a bridge and hearing a blowout of the tyre. He was out recording sound effects for a movie. But that was really good. Body Double, that was excellent. The soundtrack on that was absolutely superb. Carrie, obviously, just superb, absolutely brilliant. So I love De Palma's movies. You put Love Cat's Eye and Carrie. Cat's Eye was really, really good. Yeah, thoroughly enjoyed that one, especially the first story about the smoker trying to quit. That was just amazing. Be doing an updated Blu-ray collection as well as what I've had for my birthday. I haven't had a chance to catch up with people's videos yet, Dave, so I will be taking a look at that, so bear with me on that one. Favourite Cary Grant films? Oh, I never saw that one, sorry. I'll come back to that one next week, Dave. And you put, I have not seen Duel either. Seek it out, you will not regret it. Early 70s, first movie that Spielberg, I believe, directed. He'd done some TV work. I think he directed a couple of episodes of Columbo, and somebody sort of asked him to do Duel on the back of that. So it's absolutely worth a watch, Dave, if you've not seen it. So yeah, thanks for that, Dave, much appreciated. The other Dave Taylor, my old cohort. Morning, Dave. Hi Tony, finally going to comment on the last video I watched. This could have been weeks ago. Carry On at Your Convenience is probably the one of the franchise I've seen the least, along with Carry On Girls. They're probably the two that I've seen the most. Rob loves both of them. My favourite carry-ons are Clio 64, Screaming 66, Cruising 62, Nurse 59, and Carry On Behind 75. There are some great gags in Carry On Behind, a lot of verbal, so you have to be paying attention to get the best out of it. There's some subtle innuendo there, but there's also some innuendo that is about as subtle as a brick through a plate glass window. So I do love Carry On Behind. It's just cracking. Miss Vushka. Cinderella Man. I don't know anything about Mr. Braddock, on whom it's based, but believe I've seen it twice and enjoyed it. This is one that Mark recommended to me, and I grabbed on Blu-ray, and then realised while skipping through Prime that it's actually on there for free. So there's another example of me needing to stop impulse buying. But a musical biopic I'd like to see would be about Alice Cooper or Ozzy Osbourne. Good choices. I mean, they've both lived the life, haven't they? I've got some of my choices coming up a little bit later on, but I think a couple of other people have weighed in on this one as well. Will Smith, only ever seen 2 of his movies. He's not my cup of tea. Independence Day and I Am Legend. IMDb rates them both as good. I would say average for me. Oh dear. Not the biggest Will Smith fan, and it's not just because of the Oscars slap with the whole Chris Rock debacle. I never really liked the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and when he went into movies, I didn't really see the need to start watching his films. So I probably, if I've seen one, I can't remember it. Oh, Men in Black, that would probably be the one. But as for his other stuff, I've just never felt the need. But I have put a couple on my watch list on your recommendations. I think £7 is one that Mark quite enjoyed. And I believe The Pursuit of Happiness is one that Guy recommended. So I'll stick them on my watch list. I've already done that. And I will take a look at them at some point. But to be quite honest, I'm in no great hurry to do so. So thanks for that, Dave. Much appreciated. You have dropped some more comments on Messenger, and I will be including them on the next video. I'm about a week behind, guys, so just bear with me if it all seems a little bit sort of all over the place. It's nothing new. I'm sure you're used to it by now. Stuart, morning Stu. Look forward to Director of the Week. Love Spielberg. Duel is fantastic. You're not kidding. My Director of the Week this week is a man whose movies I absolutely love. They are classic late night, Friday night, black and white entertainment from the 50s and 60s. This guy was the king of gimmick movies, which must have been amazing to have lived through that. And they did a kind of biopic based roughly on his life called Matinee, starring John Goodman, and that was supposed to be loosely based on him and his career, but it is Mr. William Castle. The movie I've chosen, the one I would normally have gone for, is something like White House on Haunted Hill, the original obviously, which I adored, The Tingler with Vincent Price, Homicidal I believe was one of his. They all had a gimmick, electro, all this sort of thing. The one I've gone for is 13 Ghosts, which was remade in the early 2000s, I believe. And it wasn't a patch on this. It was a good movie, but as far as originals go, this was a country mile ahead of that. And this took advantage of a system. These were all invented by him, by the way. These weren't already in existence. Illusiono. And I believe it involved putting on a pair of glasses at a certain part of the movie. And if you looked through, I think it was the red lens, you saw the ghosts. If you put the blue lens on, or you covered the blue lens, or the other way, whichever, you didn't see the ghosts, or you did see them. You know what I'm getting at. But this is absolutely brilliant. I absolutely love this, and this particular disc has got an absolute crapload of special features, including, I believe, a documentary on his career, which this is the main reason that I bought this, apart from the film being amazing anyway. And I believe it's called the William Castle Story. I can't see it. Oh, Spine Tingler, the William Castle Story, 2007, 82 minutes. So that is my Director of the Week, guys, William Castle, whose movies I absolutely adore, and I've got 2 or 3 of them on proper disc. So that's my director of the week. Where are we going from here? Stu, we're still on Stu. Princess Bride is good fun, mate, and I love it. I do need to take this one in. It's one of the movies that whenever I mention it to do with the 80s, to me it's one of the lesser known titles, but it's the one that raises the most eyebrows, apart from some of the others, of course, which you'll all know about. Mermaids and Moonstruck are good films. I definitely do want to take in Mermaids, absolutely, and Moonstruck. Moonstruck I've seen before, long time back. It was on VHS when I worked there, the video store. I can never remember what that video store was called. Jason, you'll know this. What was the video store called? Was it Premier Video or was it Statement? I can't remember. But I worked there anyway, and they were both. Well, Moonstruck was in. Watched it one night, thoroughly enjoyed it. Can't remember anything about it, so I'm definitely due a rewatch because you must be going back 40 years with that one. Omega Man is fantastic. Not over keen on Soylent Green. It's only good because it's got Charlton Heston in it. Name me a few Charlton Heston movies you enjoy. Oh my God, I never spotted that one either. I told you I was in a bit of disarray this week. I'll come back to that one, Stuart. Leave that one with me. But I'm definitely going to say Planet of the Apes. Ben-Hur. I thought I'd actually made a note of this, so I put them further down or something. I can't find them. Leave it with me. I will come back to that one next week. I will not forget. See you next Saturday, and you put underneath that 4, 3, 2, fucking 1. Lol. It's a coping mechanism. That's all it is. If I start to stammer, it just seems easier to do that, and it kind of gets everything back on track again. Damage limitation, I think it's probably called. So thanks for that, Stu. Much appreciated, mate. Always good to hear from you. Steve Mack, our Criterion guy. Kino has done 4Ks of Cujo, Needful Things, Misery, Silver Bullet, Graveyard Shift and Carrie. So I've got those to build up my Stephen King collection. Got the Criterion 4K of Thief. The Arrow release you have has more features. Oh, good. After rewatching, I bought the score by Tangerine Dream. I didn't know it had got a Tangerine Dream soundtrack. The soundtrack to Sorcerer was, I believe, Tangerine Dream, and that was amazing. Mermaids is good. I hated the Shoot Shoot song as well. I didn't so much hate it, it just got on me wick. It was one of those tracks, I think, that was well overplayed at the time because the movie was in cinemas at the time. So whether they got some sort of a deal with the studio that you need to play this like 30 times a day, I don't know. But that's kind of what it seemed like. Plus, I love the original by Linda Lewis, which still sends shivers down my spine when I listen to it. This version just gets me hackles up. So I will watch Mermaid, but as soon as I hear the Shoot Shoot song come on, chances are the volume will go down or I shall mute it. So thanks for that, Steve. Much appreciated. Now, we'll be taking a look at Thief at some point in the future. So cheers for that, mate. Roy, morning, Roy. Thanks, Tony. Another a great way to start the weekend. Cheers, mate. Much appreciated. I definitely need to lay a slander libel writ at Stuart's door. Bloody grease. I knew he was having me on. I bloody knew it. And I didn't realise until I watched your video of what he'd sent to you, and he'd sent you a copy of God. Why would he do that? Why would you send somebody a copy of a movie that they hate, absolutely hate? But he definitely got the reaction I think he'd hoped for. Charade is my favourite Audrey film. Great thriller, action adventure. I have one of hers I haven't got to yet. Two for the Road. Any idea? I've heard of it. This is Albert Finney. I don't know anything about it, but I'm going to be looking into that one because I've never seen it, and I do love a good Audrey film, absolutely. By the way, if you love Audrey Hepburn, check out a video on YouTube. Ronnie Ancona does the most amazing Audrey Hepburn impersonation. I'm not central, hang on. That's better. Ronnie Ancona, I think it's Ronnie Ancona. She does the most amazing Audrey Hepburn impersonation. You have to see it if you've not already. If I think on, I'll put it on Retro TV Zone and I'll tag you in it. But it's just amazing. But I will look into Two for the Road because I've not seen it, and it's one that I wouldn't mind taking a look at. Walk the Line is fab, mate, and superbly acted. Take care and see you next week. You will see me next week, provided nothing else disastrous happens. Walk the Line is absolutely on March, April's watch list. So I will be taking a look at that along with a handful of others. So leave that with me. Thanks, Roy. Much appreciated, mate. Always good to hear from you. I do need to catch up with your videos as I do with everybody's. It's been a funny week this week. So just bear with me because I will have some comments on the sort of the movies that you've been buying and talking about. Ollie. Morning, Ollie. Great video as always, Tony. Cheers, mate. Much appreciated. Not really watched any standout films this week, but still some decent ones, such as A Bridge Too Far, classic war film. My dad used to love that. End of Watch, not familiar with it. I believe it's a police thing, isn't it? And last night I gave The Island a watch, which was actually pretty decent. I completely misunderstood that when I read it. I thought you meant The Island from 1980, starring Michael Caine, where he plays a journalist who is investigating disappearing ships and boats and stuff like that in the Bermuda Triangle. I think it's in the Bermuda Triangle. And he basically goes out to investigate it. It's a cracking movie, gory as hell. It's actually based on a Peter Benchley novel, the author of Jaws. And I think everybody was expecting something like Jaws, which they did when The Deep came out. It was the same with that. I'm sure it's based on a Peter Benchley book. I hope I've got that right. Somebody will pull me up on it if I haven't. But The Island is absolutely superb. I thought that's the one you meant, and it turns out it was the Ewan McGregor movie, which I've only seen once and I can't remember anything about, so it can't have made that much of an impression on me. I've picked up a few things off the back of some of your recommendations from last week. I need to catch up with your videos as well. I would love to see what you've actually bought that I recommended. So leave that with me. I will try to find which video it was. Are you a fan of Alexander Payne? And if so, what's your favourite film of his? Not my favourite, but one that I enjoy that others don't, is Downsizing with Matt Damon. Thought the concept was interesting and just had the right tone. Downsizing is probably the only movie of Alexander Payne's that I have got. I had not heard of him, so if you'd have asked me, to name a movie that Alexander Payne had directed, I would not have known Downsizing was one of them, to be absolutely honest. But I will be taking on more of his movies. He's not got a huge filmography, so it shouldn't really take that long to catch up with them. But I will take a look. But I've not seen Downsizing, but I will pop that onto the next watch list, and we'll have a look at that. Do you have any underrated thrillers you can recommend? I would say Flight Plan, Suburbicon and Red Rock West are a few that come to mind for me. Not familiar with Flight Plan. Oh, hang on. Yes, I am. Jodie Foster? Yes, I remember Flight Plan. Seen it. Very good. Not familiar with Suburbicon at all. Never heard of that. But Red Rock West, bought it on Blu-ray. Oh, must be 6 months ago. Not got around to watching it yet. So that's one that I need to take on. Underrated thrillers. I've made a little list here of, I think it's 5 that I've seen many, many years ago that never get talked about anymore, and they were superb. Coma was one. Michael Douglas and Genevieve Bujold. It's some kind of a medical thriller. I can't remember much about it, but I do remember going to see it at Burton Odeon around about 1978 and thinking that was a cracking film. It's one that I would love to see again, and I will be taking it in, but it's called Coma. When a Stranger Calls. Have you checked the children? You need to watch that. If you've not seen When a Stranger Calls, as I've said before, it's a classic babysitter in peril movie. Just brilliant. Copycat with Sigourney Weaver. I believe she plays some kind of a police psychologist, and there is some guy committing murders, copycat murders of famous murderers. I do remember the first scene being particularly brutal, but it was a really, really good movie. Again, not seen it for ages. Breakdown, Kurt Russell, that was another good one. And one called Fear with Mark Wahlberg and Reese Witherspoon. This was one of Mark Wahlberg's first movies, and I thought it was excellent. He just plays the psychotic boyfriend that is an absolute charmer when Reese first meets him, and he just turns out basically to be a complete nutter, but really, really good. So that's just a little handful of underrated thrillers. So far, I have seen Sightseers, High Rise, and Free Fire from Ben Wheatley. Still on the fence with Kill List. I own it now, but know it's going to be a tough watch. Am I brave enough to take it on a second time to see whether I get on better with it? I don't know. It's the hammer scene that did it for me. How I ever made it past that, I do not know. Maybe, I don't know. I could always skip the hammer scene because I know what happens and why it was done. It was just a little over gratuitously violent for me. It was way too much. And that's kind of what put me off Ben Wheatley's films. And I've dipped my toes in the water, as I say. I enjoyed A Field in England. I thought that was excellent. The final scene was a bit of a hard watch, but I thought it was really good, very trippy. But I'm not really familiar with any of his others. In the Earth is one that I will take in at some point. But the scene where a guy has his toes cut off, yeah, we'll see how we go. Hope you have a great weekend and week, and look forward to the next video this time next week. All the best, Ollie. Cheers, Ollie, much appreciated. You will be seeing me next week, God willing. I've still to check out your underrated British thrillers movie. I have put it in my watch later list, so I will be taking that in because I'm curious to see what you class as an underrated British thriller. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. So good to hear from you, Ollie. Thanks very much for taking the trouble to comment, mate. Simon Robson, morning Si. Great video as usual, Tony. When you watch Soylent Green, you're in for a treat. Edward G. Robinson gives an amazing performance. It's a divisive film, this one. Some really, really enjoy it, really like it for what it is, and others, I think we had a comment earlier saying that Soylent Green was just underwhelming. So I think I'm going to enjoy it. If Charlton Heston's in it and Edward G. Robinson, I believe, I'm almost certainly going to enjoy it, but let's see, shall we? I have a question. What are some of your favourite Paul Newman films? For me, I love The Sting and Nobody's Fault. The Sting is just amazing. I watched it over and over again years and years ago when I first discovered it, and I think it was in the late 70s. But just amazing. Nobody's Fool, I've heard so much about. I listened to a podcast on Paul Newman not too long back, and they must have spent a good 10-15 minutes talking about Nobody's Fool. Can't remember what they were saying about it or what the film's about, but I do remember making a note of it and thinking I must check that out. Some of my favourites, obviously, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, total and utter classic. Even though the scene with what's the song called? Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head, B.J. Thomas, which is an unfortunate name to start with, but yeah, a lot of people have said, why on earth is that even in there? It just takes away the mood. I don't think so. I absolutely love it. I think the film is perfect as it is. The Colour of Money. Didn't think I was going to enjoy it. Saw The Hustler many, many years ago. Absolutely brilliant. As soon as I heard it was about Paul and Tom Cruise was in it, I thought, oh, really? Watched it, loved it. Seen it a few times since, really enjoy it. One that never gets mentioned nowadays, and everybody I mentioned this to has never heard of it. Fort Apache, The Bronx. It's a police drama. It's basically set in the Bronx, obviously, set in basically in this police precinct. It's a police drama. He plays an on-the-beat copper, I believe. Saw it again decades ago. I would love to see it again. It's a difficult film to get hold of, but I really enjoyed that one. Slapshot, absolutely brilliant. This is the one where people say if you want to see, if you want to hear Paul Newman say fuck about 53 times, watch Slapshot. It was just brilliant. Set in the world of ice hockey. It was a movie again that I watched and not expecting to enjoy as much as I did. I thought it was superb. So yeah, Slapshot definitely gets a vote from me. I've got it on Blu-ray, bought it a few weeks ago, and I need to take a look at that one. And obviously the Towering Inferno with Steve McQueen. Absolutely can't go wrong with it. The king of disaster movies, Irwin Allen, with a cast to die for. and the most amazing fire sequences. Just absolutely brilliant. It's nearly 3 hours, but the first time I watched it, it flew by. So there you go. That is my choice of Paul Newman films. Also, I hope you enjoyed Unforgiven. Absolutely loved it, as everybody said that I would. Watched it, I think it was last Saturday afternoon. Brutal as hell. Gene Hackman, my God, what an absolutely hateable, loathsome character he was. But the story was superb. It was not your typical Western. It was not one of these shoot 'em up gunfight type things. Not at all. It was a character driven piece with a cracking story. I thought it was based on fact, to the point where I actually looked up the story behind it, and everybody has said it's not based on a true story. It was the caption at the end that did it for me. But what I did find, looking for The Unforgiven, is that there is another movie called The Unforgiven, another Western, which I'm trying to track down now. I think I got a copy of it the other day, if I remember right. I can't remember who's in it, but I will let you know. But it's a Western along similar lines, but it's more to do with racism towards the Native Americans rather than brothels and stuff, which obviously they couldn't have done back in 1960. But I'll let you know what the story is with that one. But I didn't know that there's another movie called The Unforgiven, so there you go. Right, I'm going to take a quick break. Thanks for that, by the way, Simon. Good to hear from you as per usual. I'm going to take a quick break. I'll be back in just a second. And we're back. Right, on with the comments. On to Sam. Morning, Sam. Good morning, Tony. What better way to kickstart a Saturday morning than your Saturday blolly blogs bollocks? And we're back. Right, on with the comments. Sam. Morning, Sam. Good morning, Tony. What better way to kickstart a Saturday morning than your Saturday blogs? Cheers, mate. Much appreciated. Glad you enjoyed Commando, Tone. Awesome movie that. What's your thoughts on The Running Man, and how do you feel about it getting a remake? I quite enjoyed The Running Man. It's another of those movies that I wasn't expecting to enjoy that much, but it was actually good. As for the remake, is it really necessary? Is it really necessary to remake anything nowadays? But I mean, I'll give it a go if it comes out. I get the feeling all it's going to be is a lot more violent. That's pretty much it. The story is what it is. It's based on a short story by, is it Stephen King? Can't remember. But I'm almost certain it's based on a short story. So they'll do their own take on it, won't they? And they'll just ramp the violence up to 11, and that's pretty much all they'll do with it. But we'll see what happens when it comes out. But I don't think it needs one. I think the original's fine. I'll look out for the film Hell Drivers. Thanks for the recommendation, bud. I don't think you'll regret it. You love old movies, as we all do. And Hell Drivers is one that I only caught up with for the first time, probably the year before last. Absolutely loved it. Can't wait to watch it again at some point. But yeah, I definitely recommend that. Tony, are you getting anything in the 101 film sale? There are a few films I'm curious to check out. Colossus of New York. Blimey, I remember watching that with my mum late one night. I think it was part of the Appointment with Fear thread on Central, or ITV as it was back then. Late Friday nights after News at 10. Good film, as I remember. The Land Unknown. I've got it, but I've never seen it. Amazon Women on the Moon. Absolutely brilliant. To me, that was an updated version of the brilliant Kentucky Fried Movie from the 70s. If you've not seen that one, Sam, I would highly recommend it. I'm sure a lot of the humour would be extremely dated and not exactly what you would class as PC. But isn't that what makes it brilliant? So yeah, Kentucky Fried Movie is along a similar line to Amazon Women on the Moon, and if you enjoyed that one, I'm fairly sure you'll enjoy that. Tarantula, one of my favourites of all time. I am an arachnophobe, as you know, but I absolutely love the movie Tarantula. Just brilliant. Just classic 50s black and white monster movie. Have you seen any of these, bud? I think I've answered that one now. As for the 101 sale, I went onto their site and there was nothing on the sales page. So whether they'd wrap that sale up pretty much the second you'd ordered your bits and pieces, I don't know. but there was nothing on there. So I'll have another look later on to make sure we weren't being a bit previous, but there was nothing there, absolutely nothing. I couldn't see anything on Amazon either, as far as 101 films being slashed in price or anything like that. Um, let's see. I watched the original Omega Man. Pretty good, solid film, Tony. However, I must admit I did prefer I Am Legend, which was obviously the Will Smith remake, which I believe I have seen. I can't remember offhand, but maybe that would be a good double bill to watch sometime. The Omega Man followed by I Am Legend, just to see how the two compare. Um, let's see. I am yet to take a look at Soylent Green. I'd love to check out more Charlton Heston films. Oh, this is where I put them. Somebody else asked me about Charlton Heston earlier on. Dark City is one of those films. My favourite film with him is, of course, the original Planet of the Apes, which I did mention. Any other favourite Charlton Heston films, Bud? So this is answering somebody else's question as well. Was it Stuart? I did actually make a list here. I completely forgot I'd done this. Starting with The Greatest Show on Earth, which he basically played the owner of a circus. It was absolutely brilliant. Cecil B. DeMille. The Big Country, which was a brilliant western. Ben-Hur, biblical epic, on an epic scale. Earthquake, really enjoyed Earthquake as a disaster movie. And one called The Awakening, which is one that, again, that doesn't get talked about much. I think it starred Susanna York, and it was something to do with Egyptian curses. I'm sure it was. I saw it many years ago. It was out on VHS on the Thorny MI label, if I remember right, and that's probably the last time I saw it. So you're going back well over 40 years, so I do need to take a look at that if it's available, but I do remember enjoying it. I watched North by Northwest for the first time last week, Tony. What a movie. Cary Grant is firing on all cylinders in the role. Just an amazing thrill ride of a movie from the word go. Now my second favourite Hitchcock film after Rear Window. North by Northwest is just amazing. So saw it loads of times, sort of when I was a kid, and just thought it was brilliant. The final scene on Mount Rushmore, wow. Or was it Mount Rushmore, or was it the Empire State Building? Which, oh, I'm getting my Hitchcock movies confused now. I'm fairly sure that North by Northwest was Mount Rushmore. So which movie ends on at the top of the Empire State Building? As a question for you guys, because I can't bloody remember. Keep up the awesome work as ever, Tone, and bring on next Saturday morning. Yes, I will be back next Saturday morning, mate, God willing. As I say, it all went a little bit skew-whiff last week, but hopefully that should there won't be any more problems like that for quite a while. I've still yet to answer your question. Do I have any movies based on a book where I prefer the movie to the book? Come back to that one. Which artist would I like to see a music biopic made on? There are quite a few, and I've got some books here, which I will just very quickly show you. These are just 5 off the top of my head. Toya Wilcox. I read this book a while ago, absolutely loved it. She's led the life, without a doubt. She's had quite the career. I just think she's amazing. I love her Sunday morning, is it Sunday morning roast that she does? They do pretty much a weekly video on a Sunday, her and Robert Fripp. And I get the feeling her career would make a really, really good music biopic. So that's one. Another lady from the 70s who I absolutely adored. She started way back in, I think, 1972 or 3. Again, had quite the career. I've not read this book yet, but I have read up on her career, and believe me, this would make a cracking movie. Susie Quattro, obviously Devilgate Drive, 48 Crash, right through to her later ones in the 80s. I just think she's amazing. She's a typical rock and roll bird. You know what I mean? So I think that would make a good music biopic. Blitzed, the story of Steve Strange. I would love to see a movie based around the early days of the New Romantics, which started with the Blitz Club owned by Steve Strange. Spandau Ballet started in there. All of the New Romantics had something to do with the Blitz Club, and I think this would make an awesome film with a brilliant soundtrack. So yeah, that's another one. This is one that I believe they tried to do a couple of years ago, but they couldn't secure the rights to his music, to his back catalogue of music, which made the whole thing a little bit bland, apparently. I didn't bother with it because I reckon there is a fantastic biopic just waiting to happen on this guy, David Bowie. Now, I reckon Jason would like this. He's seen this guy live, and I am so envious of that. But yes, I think this would be the most amazing music biopic, and it is waiting to happen. Somebody will take this on board. I'm fairly sure of it. I just hope it's done better than the last one. And the final one I've got here is a book called I Ran With the Gang, My Life in and Out of the Bay City Rollers. I did make the mistake of admitting that I adored the Rollers back in the 70s. Obviously, I could never have admitted that back then. Absolutely not. And Stu, I think, not Stuart George, I can't remember his second name, used to work with him. He basically said that's a brave thing to admit even now. So they're obviously still got the same stigma attached. But I saw a documentary not too long back, basically based around the dark side of the Bay City Rollers. We all pretty much knew that there was abuse going on and stuff like this, but I reckon there's a really good music biopic in this story. If we could just leave all of that stuff out, but I guess it's part of the story, I don't know. But when they do movies like that, they tend to concentrate on that side of it, and I would love to see a music biopic of these guys based around the success that they had and the sheer mania that surrounded them everywhere they went. I think it would make a great story. Same as the Osmonds, that would be another one. Another couple that I thought about but I've not got books on, Keith Moon. I think, God, would that make the most amazing biography or what? The guy was a legend. And there were rumours going round a few years ago that they'd asked Mike Myers to play him. Now, I'm not the biggest Mike Myers fan, but I could see him doing that. He looks like him. He could definitely sound like him. I think he would do the most amazing Keith Moon biopic. So that's what I'm hoping for. Another one is David Cassidy. I have got his biography upstairs, but I couldn't find it. But again, those early 70s with all the teen heartthrob things. The early 70s, it was either David Cassidy, the Jacksons, or the Osmonds. It was that simple. They were the three. And you got all the other ones sort of hanging off the coattails, like Roxy Music, Slade, and all that lot of things. But I mean, a biopic of David Cassidy would just be amazing. I would love to see that. So I hope that answers your question, Sam. Good to hear from you, mate. Mark. Morning, Captain. Morning, Mark. Busy day, so I've still got 20 minutes left to watch, which I shall watch in the morning. But I wanted to get a comment in before tomorrow morning. Before tomorrow morning's recording, hopefully, which you did. In America is another fantastic film that you would definitely enjoy. This is a Paddy Considine film, isn't it? I don't know anything about it, but I'm going to be looking that one up, so leave that with me. I'd like to see a film biography done on Guns N' Roses. They were once dubbed the world's most dangerous band. So yeah, I think that could be brilliant. Yeah, absolutely. That's one I would watch. Not the biggest Guns N' Roses fan, but I do love a good story, especially a true one. So yeah, I'd be up for that one. You got half right. I've seen Commando and I love it. I've not seen Avatar yet, but I have seen Robin Hood and I thought it was shite. Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. I've not watched it yet, so I can't pass comment. I get the feeling I'm probably going to enjoy it. I also get the feeling I'm only going to watch it once, but let's see, shall we? This is basically on the back of me saying that I'd seen Commando, and also I think it was a list of films that I'd not seen that I thought would surprise everybody, but it didn't actually surprise anybody at all. And you said that you'd seen two of the ones in the list, and they were Commando, which you thought was brilliant, and Robin Hood, which you thought was shite. Same time next week. Yep, same time next week, Mark. You're never seen it. For last week was Enemy at the Gates, a brilliant cat and mouse movie. I would watch 100%. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slow down. A brilliant cat and mouse movie. I would 110% watch it again. 8.5 out of 10. Um, Guy at work, Nathan, recommended this to me, truck driver, and he watched it and he thought it was amazing, absolutely amazing. And I did mean to take a look at it then, but I've now secured a copy, so I will be taking a look at it at some time. It's on March, April's watch list. You also watched a movie called Popeye the Slayer Man. I'd heard something about this, but I'd certainly not seen it. Well, I decided it would be funny to watch this film yesterday morning, but you know what? It ain't half bad at all. It's definitely a B movie for sure, but in comparison to, say, The Terrifier, anybody who has seen any of those movies will appreciate that this actually has a storyline. It visually looks better and is far better acted. I didn't expect this from you. Now, I'm not recommending that anybody goes and watches this at all. So basically, shedding all liability for this. I'm just leaving it out there. It gets a decent 6 out of 10 for me. Um, I'm going to have a look. I'm definitely going to have a look. You've sold me on that one. Jason K, our Ginger Ninja, said, sign me up. Uh, Jason said, Jason said, I refuse to watch. I refuse to waste my valuable time on trash like this, and no review will make me change my mind. Apparently, not even mine. And Jason said, definitely not your reviews. You know the score. Thanks for that, Mark. Much appreciated, mate. Jason K, our Ginger Ninja. Morning, Jay. Everything has settled down now. Well, the move stuff is all sorted. Best not to talk about work. Moved in and set up the TV. That's all I need. That's all I'd need, to be honest. Let off some steam, Bennett. One of the greatest 80s action movies ever. Commando is such a fun movie. Lots of cheesy one-liners, big explosions, and just 80s excess. Glad to hear that you enjoyed it. I loved it. I had a feeling that I would, but I didn't think I'd enjoy it as much as I did. I thought it was great. I was planning to give it to the charity shop, but I watched it and thought, you know what, I'm going to keep that. So that would have been a good bin it and keep it. Harry Brown, brilliant movie, love it. And for some reason, my 60-second review has been taken off recently. Oh dear, they've obviously objected to something then. The Gentleman, surprisingly good. Colin Farrell was great in that scene. The only scene I've seen of Colin Farrell is in the fast food joint where he squares off against those gobby youths and basically slaps the shit out of each and every one of them, which I thought was amazing. So I do need to take a look at The Gentleman. I've also heard that Hugh Grant's performance in that movie is just brilliant. So yes, that is definitely on the watch list. Maximum Overdrive is one of my favourite Stephen King films. Yes, it gets a lot of grief, and King hates it due to his nose candy. Start again. Due to his nose candy. Fucking 5432, bleeding bloody one. Start again. Maximum Overdrive is one of my favourite Stephen King films. Yes, it gets a lot of grief, and King hates it due to his nose candy use during the making of it. Now I get it. Sorry about that. This is what being away from it for a week does for you, and I didn't get a chance to edit any of the comments. Sometimes, as you know, I'll edit certain words out, or I'll replace a sentence with something that I think will be easier for me to say without tripping up the way that I just did. So I've not had a chance to do that this week. Ben Wheatley. Haven't seen Kill List, but it's on the list, pun not intended. But I did watch Generation Z recently, which is a TV series directed by him, and I quite liked it. Didn't like the Meg 2, though. I wasn't keen. I thought I would be because I loved the Meg. I thought it was amazing, and I can't wait to see the next one. But the Meg 2 was such an underwhelming disappointment. Would I watch it again? I don't know. Maybe I got it wrong, perhaps, I don't know, but it just didn't do anything for me, not the way the Meg did. Generation Z, I remember you talking about that on Higgis one day. You mentioned that in a comment that we were talking about zombies, was it 28 days later or something like that? So that's one that I do need to take in at some point. Is Die Hard a Christmas film? Yes, in capitals, yes. And if you think it isn't, you are wrong. Any movie set at involving gifts, trees, and has Christmas songs, it's a bloody Christmas movie. And yes, that includes Lethal Weapon. What? Do you know what? I'm not going to argue with that. I'll let you have that one. Robin Hood. Let's be honest, the only Robin Hood movie that is good is Robin Hood Men in Tights. Not seen it, but I've got it. I went on a bit of a Mel Brooks buying spree and got Robin Hood Men in Tights, Spaceballs, The Producers, a couple of others. Can't remember what they are, but I definitely want to take a look at Robin Hood Men in Tights. What about Errol Flynn? Poor old Errol Flynn, the man who started it all. I loved The Adventures of Robin Hood. The original Errol Flynn version. Haven't seen it for a while. Was it Basil Rathbone played the Sheriff of Nottingham. So it's way before your time. It's way before mine, but I do love that one. Out of the four main actors to have portrayed Hannibal Lecter, Brian Cox Manhunter, Anthony Hopkins The Silence of the Lambs, Hannibal and Red Dragon, Gaspard Ulliel, Hannibal Rising, good lord, Mads Mikkelsen in Hannibal, that's the TV series. Who has been your favourite screen interpretation of the famous cannibal? Obviously Anthony Hopkins, because he was the first one that I saw. But following that, I did watch Manhunter and thought Brian Cox was absolutely superb as Hannibal Lecter. So those two would be joint first on that one. I've never heard of Gaspard Ulliel, and I've not seen Hannibal Rising. Mads Mikkelsen, I can imagine, is superb in the TV series, which I've also not seen yet. But a colleague at work recommended me that series and said you really need to watch it. If you love horror and you enjoyed The Silence of the Lambs, you need to watch Hannibal. So it's on my list, let's put it that way. Awesome video. Take care, Tony. Have a great week. I certainly will, and you will see me next week. Definitely. I've still got your questions at the bottom here. I've not forgotten about them. You did remind me about watching Soylent Green and the Omega Man, and you said that you can't wait to hear all about those movies, so I will be taking those in, I promise you. And you did leave me a question. There is a lot of talk about what movies could never be made nowadays due to the woke brigade, but what movie would you like to see remade? No limits to what movie, can be any film, as in this question, the woke brigade do not exist. So you're asking me to name a movie that I would like to see remade if the woke movement had never even started. Excuse me. I will definitely come back to you on that one. Leave that with me. So good to hear from you, Jay. Glad to hear everything's settling down with the move and all that. Guy. Good morning, Guy. Great vid, matey boy. Cheers. Rob hasn't seen Duel. How are you two still together? I ask myself this every fucking week. Duel. We watched it. He enjoyed it. Only problem was we got about 30 minutes into it and all of a sudden logic crept into it. And I heard all these remarks coming from the other end of the sofa basically saying, why has he done that? Isn't that a bit stupid? And I think about sort of 40 minutes into it, he said something along the lines of, or Dennis Weaver said, I'm going to be late for that sales meeting anyway. And straight off he pipes up, well, why the fuck don't you just turn around and go home? Why are you still going on the same route? And it got to about 15 minutes from the end. He said that he was going to make a cuppa. I said, I'll pause it. He says, no, keep it going, you're all right. To me, that said, I'm not enjoying this. I think it just wound him up. There were just so many plot holes that we've never seen, obviously, because we just love it for what it is. But it was just full of, why doesn't he do this? Well, why has he done that? That's really stupid. So I get the feeling he didn't enjoy it as much as I maybe thought he did. But divorce proceedings are in the pipeline. Fuck you know. Do you know what? We love it, and that's all that matters. I don't fucking care what he thinks about that one. Love your ring light. Thank you. Get using it, they really are handy. I will get it out of the box at some point. Jason, you commented, ring lights, so many jokes could be made there, but I won't. You really should have done. Looking forward to some Higgis comments, which I did get in. And I do need to catch up with Higgis. I've not watched this week's instalment yet, which was a geeky chat. I always enjoy the geeky chat ones. So I will catch up with that. Great vid, sir. Same time next week. God willing, yes. Cheers, guy. Much appreciated. Callie. Morning, sweetheart. Good morning, Connie. Saturday morning, Tony time, the best way to start the weekend. You see, I read that and I think I felt so bad last week leaving you without anything to watch. So hopefully I've made up for it this week. Cher as an actress, like most singers, it can be hit and miss, but The Witches of Eastwick is a classic. Absolutely brilliant. Haven't seen it since its days on VHS, but I would love to see it again. That's a good ring light, hon. Just play around with it and hopefully it'll help. Of course. If you're a fan of Killer Sofa, try watching Deathbed. Just go watch it. I've found it on YouTube and I've not watched it yet, but I put it on watch later, so I will be taking a look at it. I wouldn't rule anything out at the moment. Arnold Schwarzenegger films, End of Days and Twins, if you've not seen them, Tony. I've seen Twins a long time ago. End of Days, isn't this something to do with the devil? In which case I've not seen it, so I will add that to my watch list. I believe I had it on DVD years and years ago, but never actually watched it, and it sort of disappeared on me. I must have given it away or lent it out or something. I think Gaptooth Tony should be your cowboy name. Do I look like a cowboy? As for calling me a cow, all I can say is moo, motherfucker. Good comeback. Gaptooth Tony. I can't really say anything to that, can I? Yeah, you finally watched Commando and loved it. Absolutely adored it. As you say, typical 80s cheese, plenty of action, brutal violence, a lot more brutal than I thought it was going to be, but really good. Looking forward to your thoughts on Walk the Line 5 years from now when you finally watch it. Cheeky, I was going to say cheeky bitch, but I won't. That's opening up a whole new can of worms. I will get round to it. I promise. I promise. It's in my top 5 of movies to watch over the next sort of few weeks, so that you will be getting my thoughts on that. On publishing my books, at the moment I'm looking at starting a deal, starting with digital ebooks. I think most people start with that. Then moving to print on demand, but it's still early days and things might change. Basically, once I know, I'll let you know. I look forward to that. If they ever do come out on print, I'm a sucker for physical books. I just love the process of sitting there with the book in front of me, turning the page. I just love it. That's why I never got on with Kindles. I don't know why, I just didn't. The Hellraiser interview was with Little Spark Films. They didn't make the new film. They are just lifelong fans like myself. Oh, I really should do my research a bit better. It's a good job your research is a little more thorough than that. They have, however, made a web series called The Laments, which is a collection of shorts set in the Hellraiser universe. Think fan film, but made by professionals. Now that sounds interesting. I'll look those up and let you know what I think. I think I'm a secret Russ Meyer fan. I don't know yet, 'cause I've not watched any of them. I've seen most of his films as they were all showed on Bravo back in the day, a now defunct channel on Sky TV. I loved Bravo. The only thing we've got that's close to that nowadays is Talking Pictures TV, which is a very similar kind of... I need to centralise myself again. No, I don't. Okay. I just found them so funny and so raunchy. It was like watching a carry-on film, but without the censorship. I can't wait to check these out. I've got about another 4 to get. I'm ordering another one tomorrow. I've got another one here, which I'll be showing off in a little bit. But I'm going to get the full set and I'm going to take a look at them. I just know for a fact I'm going to enjoy them, and I get the feeling that if I put one of them on with Rob in the room, he will laugh. I know he will. I just get the feeling it's his sense of humour, but we'll see. Another cracking episode, honey. You keep making them and I'll keep watching them. Have a great week and see you in the next one. You definitely will. I've said earlier on, I've got to catch up with Higgis, sweetheart, and I will. I've got to watch the Geeky Chat one. I did make some notes. I loved the soundtrack episode, and I've also got a selection here of TV soundtracks, which I'll show off next week. Because I want to compare them to the ones that you picked, which I've already made notes of. So leave that with me. That will be happening. Jason P. Morning, Jay. Great vid tone. Cheers, mate. Director of the week, month. Knowing your track record, it'll be Director of the year. Boom. May as well start off with a sarky comment. Wouldn't be the same without it. Hard to believe Duel was out way back in 1971. It could pass as an early 80s movie, couldn't it just? Watching it last week, I was surprised how absolutely brilliant it still looks, even if a certain other person didn't enjoy it as much as I thought he would. I think it's brilliant, and you're absolutely right. It could easily pass looking at it visually and the way it was filmed as an 80s movie. I saw Mermaids at the cinema. That was the last time I saw it, so I can't remember anything about it. I want to watch it, but again, I'm in no hurry to do so. Journeyman, Tyrannosaur, and In America are all great movies. I spotted Journeyman and Tyrannosaur on ITVX for free, so I will be taking a look on there. In America, I need to look into. Music biopic, Rod Stewart, Reese Fan could play him brilliantly. I've got the Rod Stewart autobiography on Audible, which I downloaded this morning. I'm going to be taking a listen of that. But yeah, again, a guy that's led the life. He's done the rock and roll thing. He will be absolutely brilliant. Killer Sofa, no thanks. I didn't think for a second you'd even entertain watching something like that. Schwarzenegger movies, Red Heat, Raw Deal, Eraser, Sabotage, True Lies, Collateral Damage, Running Man, The Sixth Day, Escape Plan. I'm assuming you've seen the Terminator movies. I've seen the first two. I believe I saw Rise of the Machines, which was the third one, I think. Wasn't impressed, so I didn't progress any further than that. I've seen Red Heat a long time ago, Raw Deal. I've seen Eraser, no. Sabotage, no. True Lies, yes. Collateral Damage, no. Running Man, yes. Sixth Day, possibly. Escape Plan, definitely not. Let's see how much more we've got. So I've only got about another couple of minutes. Let me see. All the Friday the 13th movies will be watched again in October alongside the 6-hour Crystal Lake documentary that I was given on Blu-ray for Christmas. That is a hell of a slog. We watched probably an hour's worth of it and not so much gave up on it, but thought we'd come back to that. So yeah, I would almost certainly watch all the Friday the 13th movies later in the year. They're just good. Dark night, Saturday night entertainment. So yes, I will be taking those in again. Make sure you watch the extended Robin Hood Prince of Thieves. Both versions, including the theatrical cut, are both on there. You'll regret not watching it earlier. I've regretted not watching a few of my never seen movies before now, especially this year's crop. Right, I'm going to take a quick break. I'm not through Jason's comments yet, but I'm not too far off. I've probably got about another 10-15 minutes to do, so I'll be back in a sec. Okay, and we're back. Right, home stretch, guys. Carrying on with Jay's comments. Liking your watch list setup. My phone has nearly 175 photo albums on it, bloody hell, as opposed to the normal 10. This is due to the new thread, which starts next month. I'm sure your watch list will grow as a result of that thread. I'm certain it will. Some years have over 100 movies to be squeezed in within just 3 days. I can't wait to see how you're going to do this. Really looking forward to that starting, mate. Our Friends in the North is a brilliant piece of TV drama which I reviewed ages ago in the TV group. I've watched this 3 times now, but it's no use watching a couple of episodes 2 or 3 months apart, as you'll forget what's happening. Reading the back of it, that's the first thing I thought. You're going to need to watch this pretty much when you say you're going to watch it, and preferably sort of one a week or one a night or something. Thinking about it now makes me want to watch it again. This will not disappoint you. I shall drag it down and put it on the watch list. Just bear with me a second. I'm trying not to get the light from the kitchen in, but I'm definitely not central. That'll do. That's it for this week. Only the one sarcastic comment. I must try harder next week. Yes, you absolutely must. You'll never seen it, for not last week, but the week before, was Two Mules for Sister Sarah, which is a Clint Eastwood film I've never seen. Let's see, from 1970, the synopsis: when a former Civil War soldier saves a nun from a gang of bandits, they team up to help the Mexicans in their war against the French. This sounds like a real good Eastwood movie. Verdict: I enjoyed this. I wouldn't watch it again, but I'm glad I watched it. This is one that I definitely need to take in. I basically tried to buy every Clint Eastwood movie on Blu-ray, and I didn't do too bad. But the ones from the last few years I do need to get hold of, so I'm going to get all my Clint Eastwood movies together, see which ones I've actually got and which ones I need, and hopefully not accidentally double dip like I've been doing over the last few weeks. So yeah, thanks for that, Jay. You've never seen it for this week. I can't remember, but everything, guys, this goes for all of you. Everything that I've missed this week due to not having made notes for the last few weeks, for the last few days. Please bear with me. I will be going back through the group over the last sort of couple of weeks, and including everything that I've missed on the next recording. So don't think I'm forgetting stuff. I probably will, but we shall see how we go. So that's all the comments for this week, right? I've got a few bits to show off. It's not as bad as you would think it would be. I've actually been really good because for saying that this is sort of roughly 2 weeks worth. There's some magazines first. The first couple are completely un-movie related, but I used to buy this for my mum. Woman's Weekly Healthy Living. Believe it or not, blokes have health problems too, surprisingly enough. So when I see this, it kind of pisses me off that there's not a guy's version of this, because we do have pretty much the same problems. I mean, you've got, our age shouldn't divide us. Cook well, feel better. 7 health tweaks to improve your life. Lose weight, strengthen your back. These are all things that we all suffer from. So why does it have to be, the reserve of women? And obviously my dose of old for this month, the Saga magazine. I don't even know what's on that. I just saw it, and for £3.95 I thought that'll make a good read one night, if I ever get round to reading it. Right, on to the movie related stuff, which I'm sure you all would rather see. Latest issue of SFX. Let's see, articles on Dune Awakening, Stranger Things, Green Lantern, Jurassic World Chaos Theory, Captain Planet and Mark Miller, Doctor Who, The Last of Us, Star Wars Andor. So I shall be having a rifle through that at some point. Latest issue of The Dark Side, which is all horror stuff. Let's see, Was Bite Out of Sight, Blackula Lives. Blackula, I haven't seen that for years. There's all sorts in there. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Leatherface Victim Speaks. Yeah, we'll come back to that one. Basically, it's all horror related stuff anyway. The latest issue of Doctor Who magazine. I don't recognise anything on there, so I'll come back to that one. Couple of books. First one is a biography of an actress that I had great difficulty finding. I watched a trailer to a movie called Mary Queen of Scots from 1970 and thought, I love her films, I haven't seen that one, and I would love to know more about her. Went onto Amazon to try to find a biography, and most of them are like 70 pages or 100. How on earth can you do the life that this woman's had in 100 pages? You can't. So I found this one, A Study, Fire and Ice. Glenda Jackson. She ended up as a Labour MP. She died recently after filming her last film with Michael Caine, which I think was The Great Escaper. I love Glenda Jackson's movies. A Touch of Class was just genius. Women in Love was really good. She did a movie called The Class of Miss McMichael in 1977, which I adore, which is on YouTube, but it's screaming out for a Blu-ray. So many cracking movies. I wanted to know more about her, so I thought I'd grab that. And I can't remember what I was looking for when I found these, but I thought, oh, 2 of them. Odeon Cinemas. These are basically the history of the Odeon chain, and you've got loads of sort of pictures of various Odeon cinemas throughout the country. In fact, pretty much every one except Burton. It's not in there. Don't know why. So I got the second volume, and Burton is actually listed in this one. There are no pictures of it as far as I can make out, but I've not had a proper look yet. But I basically love books to do with old cinemas. I could just sit and read through them for hours. There are a couple of others that were on the same page that I'm going to be grabbing. I think one was Gaumont Cinemas, and I believe one was to do with ABC Cinemas. So I'm going to grab both of those hopefully this week. I've got a couple of CDs. I love Talking Pictures TV, and I spotted these on their sister site, which I believe is called Renowned Pictures. Music from the Footage Detectives. This is the music in the background of all of those lovely silent reels that you see them play, that people have sent in or sort of lent them or whatever. And they play this gorgeous sort of lightly jazzy kind of music in the background. And this is a lot of tracks from that, which I can't wait to have a listen to. I think these are both still in the cellophane at the moment. And the other one from the same place, classic British film themes and songs. These are all originals. You've got on here a cinema fanfare, Pathé News fanfare. I don't think you'd recognise any of these movies because I'm not even sure I do. But this will make a very, very nice, easy listening listen on the way into work. So that's going into the car. And they also sent me a load of these little leaflets with it, sort of things going on. Festival of Film for 2025 with all those people, if you want to freeze frame that, turning up. A little leaflet on Talking Pictures TV, their encore repeat service. There's that. There's also a Festival of Film coming up with all that going on. They do tours as well, apparently. There's one here, The Secret Army. Oh, hang on, screen's gone off. I do need that ring light, don't I? There you go. They do tours, one Secret Army and one for Van der Valk. So that'll be an interesting one to go on. The Van der Valk, because I remember that. There's also a leaflet showing the Footage Detectives Vienna Christmas Market and the Third Man Tour. That'll be a good one. Also a Peter Cushing weekend and some other bits. And I think that's pretty much it. Oh, an advert for the Intermission magazine, which I also subscribe to. That's all of that. And 3 Blu-rays. And that is it. And one more item, which I can't wait to show you. First one, Callie, Vixen. You mentioned this one. This is the one that came before the one that I bought last week, which I think was Super Vixens. I've probably got another 3 or 4 of these to get, and I've got a full set, and that's when I'll start to having a look at them. This was recommended by Chris Hukin, who loves this. And I get the feeling that there will be a lot of people who love this. The Quick and the Dead. Gene Hackman, Sharon Stone, Russell Crowe and Leonardo DiCaprio. Directed by Sam Raimi. I didn't realise Sam Raimi had done a Western, so I can't wait to see what he's done with that. The Lion in Winter. We were talking about Audrey Hepburn last week. I think this is Audrey Hepburn. Yeah, Audrey Hepburn and Peter O'Toole. I love historical dramas, but I've never seen this one. I believe it's set in the reign of Henry II. So I will be taking a look at this one soon, but it's a Blu-ray, so it'll look absolutely gorgeous. And finally, Guy showed this off on Higgis last week, or was it the week before? And straight off, as soon as I saw it, I messaged him and said, "Where did you get that from? I've got to have that." Amazon, 12 quid. You're going to be seeing a lot of this guy. Isn't that fucking awesome? I think Jay, you definitely need one of these, and Mark absolutely needs one. Guy's already got one. I will be using this at some point. This is not the last time you will see this, but is that absolutely brilliant or what? 12 quid on Amazon for those of you that are interested. Right, that is it. I'm done. I think we've gone about an hour and 10 minutes, which isn't too bad. I desperately wanted to clear the decks on all these comments and just leave a tiny handful of things that I need to come back on next week, and I think I've done that. So thank you ever so much for bearing with me once again last week. Hopefully that will be the last time that it happens for a while, but as we all know, things happen, shit happens, and sometimes you just can't avoid these things. So, but it really is good to be back, and I will, as I've said before, God willing, be back next week. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you again for your continued and unending support for the channel and me. It is very, very much appreciated, and as I've said before, it's only you guys that keep this thing going, because without you guys there'd be no need for it. So I really, really do appreciate it. Don't think for 1 second that I don't. I don't take anything for granted nowadays, least of all your support. So thank you so much for that too. That's to each and every one of you. Have a brilliant week, folks. I will be back next week. Yeah, enjoy life, have fun, and I will see you all next week. Take care. Ta-da.